presents Boys High School Basketball. This week's matchup, the Maine South Hawks against the Hersey Huskies. Watch your neighborhood play on TCI. Welcome to Hersey High School in Arlington Heights, Illinois for a non-conference matchup between Maine South of the Central Suburban Conference against Hersey of the Mid-Suburban. Hi everybody, I'm Perry Williams, and thank you for joining us for Game 4 of 14 on our TCI schedule for you this year. And we've given John Cohen the week off, and Jason Bell will be our analyst here tonight. And Jason, we have a couple teams pretty well balanced on paper, both teams coming off games last night.
Yeah, and 2 games in 2 days, very difficult for high school players. The talented Josh Bornstein filling in for me. He'll be coming up in a moment to talk about how these teams are going to react to playing 2 games in 2 days.
So let's see what the coaches had to say about the matchup here tonight.
I think we started off a little bit slowly. We had a tough loss to Lincoln Park on a last-second shot in our first game. We had a very disappointing loss to York in that tournament, so we went 2-2 there, and I think we expected to do a little bit better. But then we came here in our gym 2 weeks ago, and we played very well against Conant and St. Viator. Played very hard, played good defense, and won 2 very intense games against 2 very strong opponents. Last week, I thought we took a little step backwards against Elk Grove and didn't play very good defense. We played what I would consider area code defense. We were sort of in the same area code, but we didn't get anybody's number. So this week, we've really emphasized defense, and we hope to really get some pressure on Wheeling and Maine South Saturday night, who are good teams.
I'm real excited about this year. We're returning 8 seniors. That's the most seniors we've had, I think, in the 9 years that I've been at Maine South. 5 of those seniors were with us 2 years ago when we went to the sectional final, and a lot of them played a lot of time both that year and last year, so we've got a lot of experience coming back.
We know that Maine South's an excellent team, dominated by seniors, very experienced, very poised. We're able to win an overtime game at Maine West, so we know that they're a good team. We know we have to focus on Schmidt, Gerke, and Price, who are some of their returning players. And should be a very good game because both teams are pretty good, and it'll be a good test for each team to see where they are at this point in the season. Maine South's a good program, they're well coached, and so I think, for us it's a good litmus test as to where we are right now.
Hersey and Maine South are very similar. We're both very athletic, have good perimeter shooting, and are dangerous from the three-point line, and we have a little bit of an inside game. I think it'll be a real good matchup of 2, equally balanced teams, and, a good game before our Christmas tournament coming up.
I think Maine South's a tough place to play in our experience over the last few years, so that should help us a little bit. But what it really comes down to is what the mentality of our players are. Did they come to compete that evening? Are they ready to go? And, what are they going to bring to the table in terms of energy and those kinds of things? If they do that, we'll have a great game with them.
Well, that's what the coaches had to say, Jason. Now let's talk about the teams and some of the players. Starting with Maine South, the Hawks are 5-2, but they are a senior-dominated team.
And that's very surprising that a senior-dominated team last night would have lost to a Highland Park team, so we'll see how they bounce back.
Okay, let's talk about some of the key players for Maine South here tonight, starting with Todd Gerke.
Todd Gerke, a very impressive player, Perry. He's a big man, does a lot of things well, and though he's only 6'3", he plays like a big man. 15 points a game, 6 boards a game. Most impressive, 68% from field goal range and 94% from the free throw line. Don Rowley, the coach of Hersey, he told me before the game they will have to contain him.
And they have a very, very solid point guard in Maine South in Kevin Barrett.
Kevin Barrett is a guy you're not going to see in the box score, doesn't score a lot, dishes some assists, but he's the floor leader. He's the guy that makes them go.
That's a little look at Maine South. Now let's focus on the home team here tonight, the Hersey Huskies. Huskies coming off a victory over Wheeling. It wasn't easy, though.
No, it wasn't, but a very emotional win in conference play, and the coach is concerned about how they'll bounce back in a non-conference game here tonight.
Let's talk about some of the key players, and let's start with one of their big guns, David Hess.
He is the man, Perry. Big gun is right. This guy averages 16 points a game and deadly from the three-point stripe. 45% of his threes, kind of like I did when I play. Coach Scott of Maine South, he told us Hess will be shadowed all night, and he will be the key to the Hersey Huskies.
Hersey does have some good size, as we've noted already, and one of those is Ryan Kelly.
Ryan Kelly is their big man, 11 points a game, 6 blocks, and 6 rebounds and 2 blocks a game, and that should come in crucial and see what he can do as far as in the paint. He'll have to control the inside.
Well, as you mentioned, Josh Bornstein will be joining us along the sidelines as well, and it's the Hawks against the Huskies. We'll tip it off next right here on TCI.
Here at TCI, we're proud to serve the community. And a big part of that is keeping a strong focus on the family. From the TCI Education Project to our involvement in local events, our goal is to put families first.
We believe Disney Channel adds value to TCI's expanded base of cable, and we're happy to support TCI in their goal of providing quality, family programming that educates as well as entertains.
Family programming matters. TCI is committed to providing quality entertainment the whole family can enjoy, and we're going to keep that commitment.
Welcome back to Hersey High School. Now let's meet the teams. And public address announcer Kent Borgoff.
Maine South and your own Hersey Huskies. First, the starters for Maine South. At guard, number 3, a 6'3" senior, Eric Schmidt. A guard, 6 foot, even, a senior, number 21, Kevin Barnett. At center tonight, number 22, 6'5" senior, Brendan Smaha. At forward tonight, number 32, a 6'3" senior, Todd Gerke. And at guard tonight, at number 33, a 6'3" senior, Brian Bryce. And now the starting lineup for your own Hersey Huskies. At guard, a 5'9" senior, number 22, David Hess. At guard, number 44, a 6'6" senior, John Camardella. At center, a 6'6" junior, number 35, Ryan Kelly. At forward tonight, number 33, a 6'3" senior, Justin Kerr. And at forward tonight, number 42, a 6'4" senior, Ryan Bell.
Well, there you saw the starting lineups. The Hersey Huskies, the home team, in white, and their colors brown, orange, and white against the visiting Hawks from Maine South, Perry Williams and Jason Bell. And Hersey has the size across the front, but Maine South has some really good scoring balance, Jason.
There's no question about it, and they're going to have to see what they can do about shutting down some of those Maine South players and preventing them from getting the ball in the basket. Maine South, they should be kind of pumped up. A game last night they should not have lost.
Okay, let's go down courtside. Josh Bornstein.
Well, guys, if you're wondering what Maine South's morale is like coming into this one, coming off of last night's upset loss to Highland Park, I talked to their coach, Dave Scott, on his way in tonight. He says the morale is good. He's happy that his team has been able to put last night's loss behind them. In fact, says the best thing that could have happened in this team is having a game within 24 hours of that loss. Now, on the other side with Hersey, different story. Their coach, Don Rowley, says he's worried about playing a second game in 2 nights. He thinks that they expended a lot of energy last night, so he's hoping that they'll be able to avoid a letdown tonight. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Josh. And there you see Hersey controlling the basketball. The shot taken for 3 from the corner by Camaradella.
And Rowley told me before the game, Camaradella can shoot that 3, so they're going to have to get out and get him.
So a 6'6" senior drills it from the corner on the first shot of the ball game. Here comes Maine South back the other way. Shot taken by Schmidt. Not there, but he gets the rebound, and the Hawks will set it up. Here's Gerke taking it strong to the hoop, off the glass, doesn't get the roll. The ball is taken down there by Camaradella. And here comes David Hess.
He's the guy to watch tonight, Perry. David Hess is the guy that Maine South is going to have to stop and shut down. And being that he's 5'8", it might be an easy task, but then again, it might not. The guy can shoot the ball.
Little spin around move by Kelly to the hoop for two. Ryan Kelly, a junior, and just as a freshman, he was 5'9". He has spurted to 6'6", and he is the starting center for the Hersey Huskies. Nice spin around move in the lane for two, 5-0. Hersey, 6:50 remaining here in the first quarter. Just underway, off the glass strongly is Gerke, the leading scorer, rebounder, and leader for the Hawks.
He plays a lot bigger than his size inside, especially in the post-up game.
We saw him with a strong game last week. We were watching the Maine West, Maine South game, and South won that game in overtime dramatically. Gerke with a big contest that time around, but Hersey answers the call on the other end.
Little David Hess getting the job done. He flips it up without getting the shot blocked.
Here's a shot by Barrett from long range, and for three, not there, but he gets his own rebound, tries to save it, and here he is again. Great hustle by the point guard for Maine South. Here's another three-point shot by Barrett, not there. A little bit short, both attempts, and it's Gerke with the rebound. So a lot of good offensive rebounding attempts here by Maine South as the Hawks are getting opportunities.
And that's what we talked about, Perry, about that guy Barrett. You don't see the stats, the points, the rebounds, but the guy hustles and he gets the job done.
And rolling it in for the basket for Maine South for three is Brian Price. He's 6'3", senior, averages 9 a game, so 7-5 Hersey.
Looks like a high-scoring game so far. Neither team coming out flat at all.
Strong down the lane and knocked out of bounds, and it will stay for the Huskies. Huskies had a tough game last night, a conference matchup against Wheeling. Now, Wheeling shot less than 50% from the line, and they had more fouls and turnovers, but boy, they hung in there. Finally, the Huskies put it away with some strong free throw shooting down the stretch. Here's a steal, though, by Schmidt, and here come the Hawks. Blocked away, but the trailer was Gerke, doesn't go there, and here comes Hess and the Huskies. The alley-oop and knocked away defensively. A great play by Schmidt. He soared in the air to knock away on the alley-oop effort. Barrett was fouled going to the line, going to the hoop.
And that's Barrett again, taking it strong to the goal, and he's not going to convert 2 points as far as getting the basket, but he's going to get to the free throw line and taking it aggressive and getting a foul called on Hersey, and that obviously could help later on.
Now that is a shooting foul, and it will be on Hess, his first, the team's first, and Barrett will go to the line. He averages 78% from the free throw line for the year.
That's one way to take Hess out of the ball game. He'll get him in foul trouble and have him take them physically out of the game.
Well, the first shot rolls out. Here's his second effort. That one is in, so brings the Hawks to within one. A little defensive pressure picked up here after the made free throw. You see Hess hounded there by Barrett. Now the zone trap that Maine South has been so effective with over the years. But at that time, a foul is called, and it will be on Barrett, his first, and the team's first.
Dave Scott with that pressure defense that he runs so well. We saw him run it last year against Maine West. Of course, that didn't work out too well, but Maine West had a heck of a team.
There you got a good look at head coach Donald Rowley for the Hersey Huskies. 28 years coaching, 10 as head coach here at Hersey, and 31 years as a math teacher. Here comes the Hawks, and down the lane, but knocked away by Kelly. Averages 2 blocks a game, but spinning around as Gerke doesn't get it, and it's Justin Kerr with a rebound.
And we talked about that in the open, Perry. Kelly, the ability to block shots and clog that middle, and we said he has to dominate the paint. Right there, he did.
Well, their victory over Wheeling, Kelly and Camaradella had 7 blocks between them. Camaradella gets in trouble, but Gerke tries to knock it away. Instead, he's called for the reach and slap.
If you recall, Camaradella plays football as well for this ball club. A lot of those guys go and play 2 sports. Very impressive on the high school level.
There you see the foul. That will be the first on Gerke. Nice looking pass. Shot taken by Kerr from long range, and the scramble for the rebound. Camaradella saves it in the corner. Hersey running their offense, trying to do a good reversal of the court. The long jumper for 3 not there. The scramble for the rebound, and he's getting his Camaradella off the glass for 2, so he fouled his own shot, and he now has 5 in the game.
He's a big, beefy guy. You can tell that he plays football as well. I mean, he's got a solid body and uses it well underneath.
Barrett with a little soft effort down the lane, but a little bit short, but he's scrambling for the rebound, and Kevin Barrett is all over the court.
He really is. I mean, this guy is all about hustle.
Now David Hess. Nice little pass into the corner.
Now, Rowley told me before the game that Hersey's going to take what the Maine South defense gives them. They run many different things on offense. They're just going to go what about the South defense comes at them with, and they're just going to adjust their game accordingly, and so far they've done a decent job of it.
Well, Hersey resets the offense. Camaradella down the lane, and it rolls out for him. And the putback basket goes in for Justin Kerr.
The Hawks are going to have to come up with an answer for the beefy inside tandem of these guys, Camaradella and Kerr. They are really dominating the glass right now.
Well, they've now matched their biggest lead of the game of 5. It's 11-6, 2:35 remaining in the first. Here's Hess, who will run the offense. And they are indeed looking inside for Kelly. Shot from long range by Hess. He hit 4 3-pointers last night against Wheeling, and now he has 5 points. And the lead is 14-6. So
Hess hits 45% of his threes. That's pretty outstanding, and we touched on that in the open as well. They are going to have to contain him, and once again it's going to come up to Barrett to be able to do the job to contain Hess, and they're really counting on Barrett to do a lot in this contest, running the floor, running the offense, and defending David Hess. Difficult tasks at hand for Barrett.
A couple of substitutions for Maine South. Kevin Geist, number 4 in the lineup, and Brett Olson, number 55, also in. He is a 6'2 senior, and Geist a 6'4 senior, so a little more height there on the front line for Maine South.
And some experience, a couple of seniors into the ball game.
Shot taken now made by Olson, who just checked in line up. A save by Geist, and a nice save, but a beautiful pass underneath, and connecting for 2 is Barrett. Good hustle by the Hawks.
Hawks want to win this game. They know that they should not have lost to a Highland Park squad that they're clearly better than, and they're ready to play tonight.
Strong baseline move by Kelly is knocked out of bounds, and the Hawks will set up defensively, and the Huskies will inbound it.
Look for the Huskies to take their time on offense. Again, taking what Maine South gives them, and they're going to eat the clock, especially when they have a lead.
And when you get someone like Hess who can drill it from long range, that will open up the inside as well, but not that time.
Yeah, that was ugly.
Shot missed by Bell. And they wave off the basket, call a lean-in charge.
Yeah, offensive charging.
Against Barrett.
But that's an aggressive play. I mean, it's not a foul that you like to get called on, but then again, that's a foul that at least shows that you're aggressive, trying to take the ball to the basket, and Barrett's trying to get things done out in the court.
Nice look at that replay, or typical wonderful camera work by our TCI crew. So that is the second on Kevin Barrett.
That could come into play, because I don't know if Maine South has anybody else who can even try and stop David Hess.
And the battle for the rebound just stripped away from Olson. And there you see the traveling call coming up against Hersey. A little battle for the rebound, and Ryan Kelly was trying to get control, shuffled the feet.
Can't do that when you're trying to get control. Can't shuffle the feet.
They caught him.
They usually do.
So inside a minute now, first quarter here at Hersey High School. It's 14-8. The Huskies leading. Schmidt with the basketball.
Coach Scott not even thinking about taking out Barrett. He knows he's too valuable to the team.
Price goes to the hoop. He was fouled before the shot. The foul is on Justin Kerr, his first, the second on the Huskies. They look to inbound it, and Geist cannot find the handle. He had the open look on the inbound pass, and Kevin could just not grab control of the basketball.
Now, if you notice right now, Perry, Todd Gerke is not in the ball game. Maine South's top gun sitting on the bench. Let's see how they react to not having their star player in the game.
I think they were paying a little attention to a thumb they might have been taking a peek at. but inside 30 seconds in the scramble for the loose ball. And bodies flying everywhere. The jump ball, and on the possession arrow, it'll go over to Maine South. Both teams with a lot of energy here in the first quarter.
No question about it. They're both coming off back-to-back games, or this will be back-to-back games. So you wouldn't necessarily expect both teams to come out with so much energy and so much hustle out on the court. But I guess these teams both want to bounce back strong after one game.
Well, Gerke is now back into the lineup with 20 seconds to go, and Schmidt will take a seat on the bench.
Nothing around the thumb, so it looks like that was a very minor problem.
And they call a traveling charge on Gerke that time.
Maybe that was the problem. He'll get it going, though. Todd Gerke plays much bigger than his size, listed at 6'3". He's a post-up player, so he'll play more like 6'6", 6'7". We got a couple of little guys in this game, both of whom are very good ball players in David Hess and Todd Gerke.
Well, Price blocks the shot attempt by Hess as the first quarter comes to an end here at Hersey High School. And after one, the score, the Hersey Huskies 14, the Maine South Hawks. TCI of Illinois High School basketball game of the week.
There's a world where you are very well known. You don't need a name tag, and everything you want is brought to your front door. Here, life is good, because it's easier for you to get and give the information you want from anywhere to everywhere. We've done that for you for quite some time, and we're getting better at it every day. TV, telephone, internet, TCI. Now, there's a better way.
Happy holidays. I'm Arlene Mulder, the mayor of Village of Arlington Heights, and on behalf of all of our citizens, we'd like to wish you the most wonderful, safe, and happy holiday season, and all the best for 1999, that very last year of this millennium.
Welcome back to Hersey High School. Perry Williams, Jason Bell, Josh Bordenstein with you, and Steve Baldwin, a proud graduate of Hersey High School. In fact, he had Coach Rowley for some math classes, and here's Steve, our stat man. So you better turn in your score sheets afterwards and you'll grade them.
I bet you he did well, obviously. If he's doing the stats for our game, he must have learned a lot of math.
Yeah, it might have been pass-fail. So second quarter underway here. It's 14-8, Hersey.
At least
with
he
the
passed.
basketball. Well, that's what he said. Into the corner, they bring Kelly out.
There's that trap again, so effective for Coach Scott and the Hawks. They are really playing tough, hustling, but you can't let a backdoor come in like that. That's a difficult situation.
And it was Kelly with a great pass to put it off the glass for two. Nice touch. Well, they've been looking for that, too, take advantage of their height.
And that's the key. They got a couple of new guys in there, both of whom have some height as well. So we'll see. Maine South is really going to have to play strong about this size difference between Hersey and Maine South.
They'll have to have someone come up with some shots from outside. Gerke in trouble. He finds Geist in the lane. Kevin fighting for his shot, and he gets the roll to go in for two.
That's a strong move.
Nice move by Kevin Geist, 16-10. Well, we did the Maine South, Maine West girls game recently, and we watched the here on TCI, but we just happened to see the boys game beforehand, and Maine South trailed most of that game, but rallied and went in overtime, and then they beat the Warriors, team they may face in the Wheeling Holiday Tournament as well.
Well, that'll give them good experience down the road when you're able to come back from a large deficit and still win ball games. That gives you invaluable experience down the road, especially when you get towards the postseason.
We got a foul here on number 3 on Kevin Barrett. So we'll have to see what transpires here. 6:27 remaining in the second quarter, and Coach Scott is going to keep him into the lineup for the Hawks. Number 32, or the Huskies rather, Damon Gary. He's a 6'4" senior, number 32.
You can't leave him in with 3 fouls. 2 fouls maybe, but 3 fouls, and now you're stretching it, because if he stays on the court, picks up another one, then he's got 4, and you might be losing him for the entire game. And when you got David Hess on the other side, you're going to need Barrett down the road.
Well, Hess averages 80% from the line, sank both of them, and the lead back up to 8, 18-10. And off the shoe, but saved there by Price. And here's Geis with a pull-up jumper, and it goes in for Kevin.
He's carrying them right now offensively. A couple of buckets in a row for Kevin, and he's doing a nice job.
He's now has 4 points, and they whistle Price for a steal. Now it's gone to Josh Bornstein with Story downstairs.
Well, guys, before the game, Maine South coach Dave Scott said he wanted to try and mix things up on defense, run a little man-to-man, a little bit of 2-3 zone. Unfortunately for him, Hersey's Don Rowley has figured it out, and you guys can watch and notice this. Every time that Hersey is in the offensive zone and the ball goes out of bounds, when they go to inbounds, Maine South sets up in the zone. So Rowley's telling his team that, and he's telling him, let him know, get it to the middle on the inbounds. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Good observation and comments. Joe Zabo also in for the Huskies, number 34, but a foul here as the fouls are picking up on Maine South. That is on Schmidt, his first, but now the 6th on Maine South, and go to the line will be Zabo.
You don't get analysis like that when a Jason Bell's doing the sideline. You just don't get it.
But we get Jason in the stands, Jason with the cheerleaders and so forth, the band, you name it.
Take it easy.
Here's Zabo averages 60% for the line, and the first one drops through for him. Good look at Joe. 5'9" guard off the bench. And the second one does not go, but
a big rebound.
Damon Gary, the putback on the offensive glass, and certainly Dave Scott can't be happy with the box out off the missed free throw.
Damon Gary, 6'4" senior, 180 pounds. He's a solid player inside.
Here's Price for long range, and they say a two-pointer. Two-pointer for Brian Price, who's starting to warm up from outside.
It's good to get a basket right back for the Hawks. If they not get in the bucket there, they could have been in some serious trouble.
That was a long range. That was your money's worth for a three-pointer by Hess, but a little bit off that time.
Sometimes when you shoot 45% from three-point range, you tend to step it out a foot or two more thinking you're going to make it.
Geis looking for someone to pass to. He hits Price again. This time a three-pointer. So back-to-back baskets by Price. He now has 8 points.
And that Brian Price looking a little bit like Mark Price, huh?
And for him, the price was right.
Oh, I knew that was coming. John warned me about that.
And there's a foul underneath. A little momentum change here for Maine South. A couple substitutions. Good look at Coach Scott on the bench of Maine South.
They've made this a ball game, 21-17, and it was a lot more just moments ago. Price really heating up and carrying the Maine South Hawks right now.
Brendan Smaha back in the lineup. You saw him, number 22. Their starting center, 6'5". There's Gerke in the corner. And kind of a late call, but nevertheless they call it on Gary, a blocking foul, but that will be the first for Damon. But only the fourth team-wise for the Huskies here in the first half.
Contrary, of course, to Maine South, who already has 6, and that could come into play in a couple of minutes.
They try to get it into Gerke. He's able to save it. Here's Price, who's hit his last 2 shots, but they work it around Stead. The Geist, and now Gerke down the lane.
That's a solid move.
And he steals it away. They call the jump ball as bodies are flying everywhere, and Gerke and Camaradella got tangled up, and they call it jump ball, and they will be on the possession arrow go to the Hawks. There's a good look at these two clubs, and Camaradella and Gerke battling for that loose ball.
I wouldn't like to be rolling around with Camaradella. The guy's a football player. He's a solidly built individual.
And a steal in the inbound pass by Wyszynski. Took it right out, and the long-range shot for 3 by Camaradella. So he comes back into the game and drains his second 3 of the game. He now has 8.
Camaradella, one of the captains of this Hersey squad, one of the veteran leaders, both football and basketball player, and he has really stepped on his game the last couple of games. Coach told me before the game, he's been very impressed with Camaradella, and Maine South is going to have to get out on him and try and defend the three-point shot and the post-up game of Camaradella. And you can see right now the foul right now.
That foul was on Kelly. That will be his second, and going to the line would be Schmidt. And he calmly drains the first. Eric will have his second coming up. Good look at the senior guard, Eric Schmidt, 6'3", 165. John Moran has checked in for Maine South, number 43. He had a big game in that victory over Maine West off the bench. His first action tonight. So the score is 24-19. Maine South trailing the Hersey Huskies with 3:45 remaining here in the first half.
And we see Maine South bringing in player after player after player. And Coach Rowley did tell me before the game that he was very worried that Maine South went 7, 8, 9, even 10 players deep. And that could come into play later on at the end of the game when fatigue starts to set in when you've played 2 games in 2 days.
And as we mentioned, they are very much a senior-dominated team. Here's Hess for long range, a good look, and he hits the three-pointer, David Hess. Just like that, the lead back up to 8.
I mean, I could have hit that. I mean, you can't leave a guy like that wide open. 45% from three-point range. That's an easy shot. He's made that shot 1,000 times.
Smaha, who's been pretty quiet, but they say a kick ball by Camaradella.
Can't do that. It's against the rules.
In this game it is.
Right. If it's soccer, no, but
TCI yet to crack the soccer telecast.
But we did cover one of the best soccer players in town when we did Jared Payton playing football.
In fact, that was a game right here against the Hersey Huskies.
Yes, indeed.
Opening night
every year.
TCI. Game 4, 14 on our schedule this year. Drive down to the lane. So now the fouls are starting to even up a little bit for both clubs. This will be the 6th on Hersey, but still not in the bonus situation. More importantly, that is the 3rd on Kelly. Ryan Kelly, the 6'6 junior, now has 3 personal fouls.
That's one way for Maine South to combat the height of Hersey, get him in foul trouble, get him out of the ball game.
Here's Gerke with the one-on-one move. Strong to the glass for 2. He was fouled by Gary. He'll go to the line with a chance to convert the 3-point play. Kevin Gerke doing it one-on-one. Second on Gary.
And Gerke's a solid player. And again, you look at him, and he's listed at 6'3". Look at this replay. This guy taking the ball to the goal, 2 guys on him, double clutches, puts it up off the glass and in, and draws the foul. That's what you call a 3-point play.
He's such a solid all-around player, too. He hustles and he can shoot and play good, solid defense. And Maine South trap on the inbound pass, but a foul is called. So now we have the 1-and-1 situation.
Or as they say, 1 and the bonus.
And the bonus. Good shot of Coach Don Riley, and Stephen Baldwin says Don Riley looks just the same as he did when you took classes. Way back when. So
Probably has a little less hair now than he did back then. Exactly right, Steve.
Joe Bello into the lineup, number 23 for Maine South, 6 foot, 155-pound junior. There you see a good look at David Hess. And he's having a strong first half. He had 21 points last night. This for number 12 here in the first half alone.
And they list him at 5'8", but if he's 5'8", I'm 6'2".
And you still can't dunk.
I'm not 6'2".
Bello dishes it off to Smaha. Here's Gerke at the top of the key. Looking for someone. Maine South, basically it's become Gerke one-on-one against Gary, and that time Gary with good defense, and he takes the ball away. And here's Hess with a spin move, and good defense the other way by Gerke. Now, we mentioned his all-round game. He had a little trouble offensively, but went down strong. And on the possession arrow, it goes over to Hersey.
And that's an impressive play because Gerke fell down on the offensive end and had the presence of mind to get up, make it back, and defend David Hess.
Gerke with the steal, and not able to convert is Moran. So a tough break for Maine South.
We're seeing a little fatigue in the Maine South Hawks right now. Their trap that they use so effectively from Dave Scott, they're getting called for some fouls on that. Offensively, they're not moving around. They're trying to get Todd Gerke to go one-on-one with everybody, and that might be a factor, especially as we move into the second half. Hersey showing no fatigue at all.
Camaradella had it go off his hip out of bounds, and Hawks have it trail by 7, 143.
Let's see if they run something here on offense. They haven't been able to score in quite a while because they're not moving without the basketball.
They basically just have Gerke going down the lane. And once again, a strong rebound by Gary. Now, Hersey is no stranger to close ball games. They've had some thrillers so far this year, including an overtime win recently over Elk Grove in conference play. And Gary connects down the lane and stretches that lead back up to 9.
Gary looks like a player. I'm surprised he doesn't start and get more time.
Now we're at 1:05 remaining till halftime.
Now see, there they go again, giving the ball to Gerke and standing around and watching him.
But Moran guns it in for 3.
That's a big shot, cutting the lead now to 6 points as we approach the halftime buzzer. If they can cut it to 4 or 2 points going into the half, they're in good shape.
Good first half by both clubs coming off games last night.
We'll see what the fatigue factor brings as we get into the fourth quarter and towards the end of the game. And that'll be the key to see which team has better conditioning.
Here's Hess now as Huskies are spreading the floor and just working the clock.
Is a smart move. You're up 6, you're going into the break. You call a timeout. This is a good play by the Hersey Huskies. They want to make sure that they get a basket. And not only that, they want to make sure that Maine South doesn't get points and cut the lead even smaller going into the halftime buzzer.
There's the timeout. The Hersey Husky cheerleaders look at the bench. Don't forget, high school basketball coverage continues here on TCI Channel 3. 1 week from today, we'll begin a string of girls' games beginning in Wheeling. The Wildcats hosting the visiting Saxons from Schaumburg. Join us next week for that great matchup. And all season long, we bring you the best in high school basketball only on TCI Channel 3. Watch your neighborhood play on TCI. That'll be an exciting game to have for you in Wheeling, our first venture there this year.
Should be very interesting.
The Schaumburg girls team, look forward to seeing them. And the boys team is off to a great start. We'll see them later on in the year as well. Head coach Don Raleigh, his 10th season as head coach, but familiar to the coaching staff, 28 years.
And Rowley had some interesting things to say before the game. How do you get pumped up for a non-conference matchup after coming off a very emotional game against a conference foe? But there is a lot for Hersey to play for tonight. You're talking about conference championship, sectional seedings when it comes to postseason time. And what he said to me was, Maine South is a good team, and if you want to be a good team, you've got to beat a good team.
You know, Maine South has showed some good defense to get the offensive foul against Hess, and they now have inside 10 seconds, and Schmidt will take it to the hoop and try to dish off to Gerke, and it's Smaha in the middle of traffic as players are flying everywhere, and they call a
Tempers
foul
flaring there
on Smaha.
Tempers flaring there.
So as the first half came to an end, Smaha got entangled with Camaradella, and Camaradella would go at the opposite end of the court to shoot the 1-and-1.
Camaradella getting a little pumped up there. John, a football player, he thought he was on the football field there. He was not. He's on the basketball field. You got to keep your temper under control. As we take a look at the replay, Camaradella had a hold of his arm, and as he went down, the Maine South player sort of threw the elbow, and that's what Camaradella was very upset about. And good for him, he gets a couple of free throws now.
Smaha charged with the takedown.
Wrestling ring is right underneath.
Camaradella drains it. He has averages 75% from the line, 9 points a game. Strong first half for him. He had a couple of the three-point efforts.
And the coach told me before the game, he can hit that three. They're going to have to get out and get him in the second half.
Well, he's
having a nice game.
He has 10 points in the first half, and that comes to an end with their score 33-25. The Hersey Huskies with a strong first half, Jason.
Absolutely.
Take that lead over Maine South.
Absolutely, and there you thought maybe Hersey would come out flat after a huge win and an emotional win last night over Wheeling, but indeed they have not come out flat. 33 points in the first half, and they're playing aggressive, and they're not showing any signs of fatigue. Maine South, meanwhile, is showing that trapping defense, and they're hanging in this ball game.
Now let's go downstairs to Josh Bornstein with head coach Don Raleigh. Josh.
All right, guys, we're here with Hersey coach Don Raleigh. Don, first half, you guys have a 6-point lead. You guys come out with some good energy. Your thoughts?
Well, we're playing hard. I wish we were blocking out a little bit better on the defensive end, and I think we've been careless offensively. We've turned the ball over needlessly. We've come away with about 7 possessions where we haven't even had a shot. We got to really reduce that or cut it down to 0. It'd make a big difference right now, I think.
Coming into this game, you had mentioned to me you were a little bit concerned about how your team would react in the second game in 2 nights. Talk to me a little bit about how you think the team came out tonight.
Well, I think we've come out pretty hard. The kids really want this, and they think it's very important to our improvement and development as a team. So I'm okay there. We just got to make better decisions and not be quite so wacky.
All right, let's hope for the
Okay.
best here in the second half,
All
Coach.
right,
Thank you very much. Perry, Jason, back to you.
Thank you, Josh. And there you see some of the entertainment here at halftime. The Hersey Huskies and the Maine South Hawks.
Wacky was hardly the word I would use to describe Coach Don Rowling.
As the first half comes to an end, and a little jumper by Gary. It's 33-25, Hersey leading it here on TCI.
Think how far television has come in the past 30 years. From 3 channels with bad reception to hundreds of programming choices and more control than ever before. You know all this new and exciting programming is out there. But how do you get it into your living room without paying a small fortune? 2 words: digital cable. With TCI digital cable, you'll get more of the great programming you want with the best of the new networks. More movie channels, more sports, more pay-per-view, more children's television, more music. In short, more of the great stuff you want to watch, delivered with digital picture and sound, right through the cable that's already in your home. With digital cable, it's all so simple. Just more great programming and new enhanced features delivered through the cable that's already in your home. Call the number on your screen now. We'll install it, and soon you'll be on your way to getting the best entertainment value out there.
So a good first half, hasn't it been so far, Jason?
Outstanding.
And don't forget, it's halftime here at Hersey High School. And as we've done through the intermission throughout the season, we take a little tour of the host school, and we have some really exciting footage, not only the players you see of the Huskies here, but also 1,800 other students as well here at Hersey. So stay tuned for that, and second half action coming your way next.
Hi, I'm Barbara Horler, and I'm principal at John Hersey High School. The school was built in 1968, and this year is our 30th anniversary. Hersey High School is a comprehensive suburban high school and has a lot to offer students with diverse backgrounds and diverse interests.
Hi, my name is John Novak. I'm a math teacher here at Hersey. I also work with the student council, and I coach sophomore boys basketball here. I've been teaching here for about 12 years now, and I was also fortunate enough to be a student here at Hersey. I graduated in 1982. This school was opened in 1968 and was named after John Hersey, who was an author. Probably his most famous book is the book Hiroshima. The Board of Education wanted to name the school after somebody who was living, and John Hersey at that time was chosen because he was a champion of people's rights and was a big believer in education and had a big focus on how children were educated in our society.
Hi, I'm Vern Pikitschke. I'm associate principal here at Hersey, and Hersey has been a wonderful place to be a part of. I've been here 5 years now, and during that time I've just found it to have the warmest atmosphere and the greatest people. The students are really fantastic, and we seem to all work together for the good of the students. They're the ones who are really most important. In fact, so much of what we do, we try and make sure that it's the students that we keep in mind.
We have 140 teaching staff members in the building, or certified staff members, which includes teachers and people like counselors and librarians. And in addition, we have approximately 50 support people, which includes teacher aides and clerical assistants. The staff members, the teaching faculty, generally have master's degrees, and or if there are some of our younger staff members are in process of pursuing their master's degrees or beyond that. So we're a very highly qualified staff, very committed to the subject matters that they teach, and I think provide educational opportunities that are second to none. Hersey High School is really blessed to be in an extremely supportive community. Our parents are wonderful. They support their students not only in their co-curricular endeavors by coming and participating at all of our athletic and performing arts events, but they are also wonderful about supporting the school, supporting teachers, communicating with teachers. And that, I think, helps to provide the kind of unique academic and strong learning environment that we have. But probably, in addition to great parents and a wonderful staff of teachers, the best thing about Hersey High School is our student body. We have wonderful, wonderful students who are willing to contribute many hours, not only to their academic pursuits, but to all of the activities that make us really stand out. And I feel very, very proud and honored to be associated with the students in this building.
Welcome back to Hersey. Now let's go downstairs to Josh and head coach Dave Scott.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. We're here with Maine South coach Dave Scott. His team down 6 points here at halftime. Dave, your thoughts on the first half and the way your team played?
Well, I thought the first half was a very physical ball game, which we knew it would be. And they've got some real good shooters from the perimeter in Hess and 44. So we're going to try to defend that a little bit and hopefully get a call and take the ball inside a little bit.
What can you do against Hess to sort of cut down the angle for them on the shots from the outside? Is that an adjustment that you might make here in the second half?
Yeah, well, one of the adjustments is Barrett has 3 fouls, which hurts us a little bit, but Hess is so quick and handles the ball so well and sees the floor, and that's a tougher job than, it's easier said than done, but we're going to see if we can, put somebody else on him, maybe with a little bit more quickness.
All right, good luck here in the second half. Climb out of a little bit of a hole. Thanks. Okay. That's Maine South coach Dave Scott. Back for second half action now with Curry and Jason.
Thank you, Josh. Good job. We want to thank both coaches for stopping by. There's very precious time at halftime to make the adjustments and so forth you need.
Yeah, he's taking my job. He don't even remember my name. See that?
Well, we were up on the scoreboard or something. You had to look up there. And
how about Coach Dave Scott's tie? Did you get a look at that?
Very seasonal.
No, it was a Michael Jordan tie. It was outstanding.
There you see the halftime stats for you, and relatively even, except the free throw percentage for the Huskies very good. They've been in the line, and that 1-on-1 right at the end of the first half game actually an 8-point lead at 33-25.
Rebounding, though, very key for Hersey. They're up 11-6 on the glass in this game. Rowley told me before the game that the rebounding must get better. Thus far, 5 better than his opponent.
Well, they have the size, and they've been doing the job on the board. But there you see their sparkling, spunky guard in David Hess, who has 12 points.
Sparkling, spunky?
Well, he certainly has been all over the floor in the first half and drilled those long-range bombs to help build the 8-point lead. But it's Maine South with the basketball as we start the third quarter here at Hersey High School, Arlington Heights. And Smaha with a shot, and it's Camaradella with the rebound. Here comes Hess. Barry Williams, Jason Bell, Josh Bornstein with you here on TCI.
We'll see how Camaradella reacts to what happened at the end of the first half. It probably won't affect him, but we'll see.
Here's Schmidt with the steal, the layup, and the score. So good defensive effort and basket by Eric Schmidt.
They're going to have to get a lot of those points in transition if they expect to come back and win this ball game.
And Gerke went for the steal. Offensive foul called on Camaradella. That Gerke went by him, and John thought he had the clear route to the basket, but he's called for the charge foul. His first, team first.
Here at Hersey High School, I sort of feel like a Pat Foley and Dale Talon up in the crow's nest, like they do for Blackhawk games.
Yes, they do have us not courtside, which is the normal operation, but it is kind of a nice vantage point, and they do have one of the better scoreboards we see around.
Very extensive, yeah.
Very extensive. They have points, they have fouls, and the player's name and so forth. Drive to the basket, but a strong rebound taken by Ryan Bell.
Yeah.
We haven't called his name much here, but into the lineup here's Zabo, who saw action at the end of the first half, and here he is early in the second half. And the scramble for the loose ball picked up by Schmidt. I think Kelly gave thought to it, but he has 3 personals, so he let Schmidt take it. But there's a turnover, which you don't want to see if you're a Maine South fan, and here comes the Husky offensive attack.
Between Bell, Kelly, and Camardella, Hersey's got a lot of size on that front line.
Zabo with a good look, and they scramble for the loose ball, and they call a block foul on Schmidt. That'll be his second, the first on the Hawks here. There you see the battle for the loose basketball. These teams, as Coach Scott was saying, are very physical here tonight.
It's almost like a football game. I don't know if these guys realize that they're inside.
There's a timeout on the floor with 6:16 remaining. 33-27, Hersey leading Maine South here in TCI. Don't forget, high school basketball coverage year-round here in TCI. 1 week from today, we'll begin a string of girls games beginning in Wheeling as the Wildcats host the visiting Saxons from Schaumburg. Join us next week for that great matchup. And all season long, we bring you the best in high school basketball only on TCI Channel 3. So watch your neighborhood play on TCI.
The Schaumburg girls want to play as well as the Schaumburg boys. They got a lot to live up to. Schaumburg's going to be our Maine West this year, like you told me before the game.
First, we had followed a lot of the Maine West team last year all the way through super sectional play with Kevin Fry, now a freshman at Xavier, and Lucas Johnson at Illinois.
Fry's getting some time there with Xavier, and Xavier's a ball club in college hoops that's been struggling, and they're putting it on some of the freshmen that have come in, including Fry. I was listening to somebody on the radio talk about how he's really struggling to acclimate to the college game.
Little spin around jumper by Kelly, and there's a foul underneath. The official starting to tighten things up a little bit. Here's a good look at Ryan Bell.
Ryan Bell's got a good name.
No relation, though.
But a good name, nonetheless.
Here's Barrett in the lineup. He does have 3 personals as well. Smaha. And the long-range shot rolls out for Schmidt. And they will call a blocking foul on Eric. And that will be his third. 2 quick ones here in the third quarter. And the senior guard now has 3 as well.
I don't think it's a coincidence that the officiating has tightened up on this ball game. We saw a lot of sloppy play in the first half, a lot of bodies hitting the ground, a lot of fouls, 6 and 6 almost on each team. So I don't think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden it's tightened up.
Here's Zabo with Price guarding him. Hess with Gerke on him now. That's one of the matchups that has changed.
That might be a good matchup for Maine South.
Barrett back on Hess now. Just a defensive switch there.
We heard Coach Scott talk about Barrett being the key, and he is the key in many ways. He's got to guard Dave Hess, and he makes them go on offense.
Well, they set the screen for Hess, and he goes down the lane into the basket for 2.
I really like a player like that. Reminds me a little bit of myself when I attempt to play hoops on the playground. But David Hess, just a heck of a player. About 5'6", though they list him at 5'8", but he really gets the job done. Plays much bigger than his height, and that's the key when you're a little guy.
So when you play basketball, are there other people on the court too?
No.
Oh, yeah, okay. You can make that move with no one there.
Exactly.
But there's
right.
the defensive effort as Justin Kerr picks up the loose ball, and here's comes Hersey with the lead of 8.
I'll drain the 3 in your face, though, if you want to challenge me out on the court. That's not a problem. Don't you worry.
Strong move to the basket, a reverse layup and in for Justin Kerr. The lead is now 10.
That's a big bucket, Perry, for this ball club. Stretching that lead bit by bit as we get closer and closer to the fourth quarter. It's going to be difficult for Maine South to come back if they're down 10, 12, 14 points headed into the final frame.
Here's Price, who had a good run in the first half. Gerke looking to make a move. He goes to the left hand, puts it up to the glass, and there's a foul on the play.
Now Gerke.
Number 33, Justin Kerr, that's his 3rd personal foul, team's 3rd.
So Josh Bornstein with us this week.
I have confidence, you guys.
Gerke's having a tough game. You would expect him to be putting up more points than he has thus far. He's only got 5 points in this ball game. He is the key to Maine South, and they have really done a nice job of shutting him down. He seems to be taking the ball to the goal and doing a lot of things that are not necessarily controlled basketball, and I think he really has to take control of himself and how he's playing in this contest. We see him at the free throw line. He only has, again, 5 points in this game. Here's a guy who's the leading scorer for the Hawks. He's really going to have to step it up if they are having any thoughts of making a comeback.
Well, with those 2 free throws now up to 7, and nicely breaking the press, but they call a foul on Moran, but that's one way to break that famed Maine South zone trapping defense and press is take it strong to the line, and that's exactly, or to the goal, what Hess did.
And Hess is so quick, and that is exactly right, Perry. When you talk about a full court press, whether it's Maine South or anyone for that matter, if your opposition has a very good quick point guard, it's going to cause problems. The Chicago Bulls use that press to win 6 championships, but when they go up against teams with good point guards, like a Tim Hardaway, for example, they can break that press. That's exactly what David Hess is doing right here against the Maine South Hawks. Their press just not working because Hess is bringing the ball up quickly and swiftly.
And he's converting both free throws. He now has 16 points in the game, and the lead back to 10.
Yeah, he's a really solid player, David Hess. They really need to do something about shutting him down.
Price is trying to set the screen for Gerke, and they'll call a foul. And let's go down to Josh Bornstein.
Well, guys, at that last time out, Hersey coach Don Rowley was telling his team to be patient on offense. He says that we can hit the outside shots if we're patient. He wants them to pass 5 times before they take a shot. He says Maine South's giving us the look, so let's take them. We have confidence in our shot. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Josh. There's a little jumper not going there, taken by Smaha. So Maine South really having trouble getting some offensive production here tonight.
Josh is exactly right. I mean, they're going to have to do something, and they're going to have to do it quick. You're down 10 points with 3 minutes left in the third quarter, and you better start getting some shots off and some 3-point shots.
And Kelly with a jumper a little bit long. You saw Gary just flying through the lane, not able to snare the rebound, and Barrett will run the offense for the Hawks.
This is a really key possession for Maine South. They need to get a basket here. They've been struggling on offense. They haven't been able to put the ball in the hoop, and this is very key.
Ball underneath as Moran was trying to break back to the hoop. And there you see the attempt, and the foul will be on Joe Zabo. That will be the first on Joe, the 5th on the Huskies.
And that, of
here
course,
in the second half.
Before the shot. That's why they get the ball out of bounds.
Moran with the 3-point look.
Oh, that would have been a big shot there for the South team.
Price with the long rebound, and Maine South will reset. Geist in the lineup, but here's Gerke off the glass for 2, so he now has 9. Cuts it to 8.
What did I just say? I said Gerke needs to come alive and start scoring some points for his Maine South Hawks, and he is doing just that.
Scramble for the loose ball, but Hess, boy, because he run the ball club very effectively.
It's like a yo-yo between the legs when he goes there.
And the body's flying underneath as Geist was cutting through, and Zabo took a shot to the throat.
Yeah, Zabo's getting up a bit gingerly there. Elbow drop. What, are we wrestling again?
Just one of those situations, a lot of screens and picks being set, and players trying to play through those screens. Here's Zabo, and it's Geist with a deflection, but now Gary, and he picks up the foul, and it will be against Maine South, and it looks like it could be against Barrett. That is the 4th on Kevin.
That's a big, big foul. Maine South needs Barrett in the ballgame. He hasn't really shut down David Hess, but at least he's got the ability to keep up with him, which doesn't look like anyone else from that squad does.
So he'll take a seat on the bench, and Eric Schmidt checks back into the lineup for the Hawks. Gary with a nice move, rims out for him though, and it's Gerke who gets the rebound.
Gary looks like a solid player. He seems not to play as much as one might think, because sometimes, like that shot, he takes some out-of-control shots, and maybe that's why he sits on the bench sometimes.
Gerke does the reverse layup. Nicely done along the baseline.
Gerke is starting to come alive and carry this Maine South team, and that's exactly what they needed. We have a 6-point game, Perry, as Maine South really trying to come back into this game. They don't want to lose 2 in a row in 2 days.
Brought some light back to their bench, too. And alertly getting the basket, falling to the floor is Hess. He was fouled, and he'll go to the line to try to complete the 3-point play.
Look at the super fans.
Basket is good.
Off Eric Schmidt, and it's David on the spot. And Hess puts it up and in for 2, and there's a timeout on the floor with 1:21 remaining in the third quarter. Your score, the Hersey Huskies 41, the Maine South Hawks 33, and your TCI of Illinois game of the week. And here's a good look at David Hess. Don't forget, we'll have our TCI player of the game announced at the end, the completion of this one. And certainly with 19 points and a 9-point lead, David Hess is a strong candidate.
Yeah, he's definitely the leader in the clubhouse at this point. We talked about David Hess being small. That play he just made, getting that rebound and tipping it back in for the 3-point play. And those are the kind of plays little guys have to make and be aware on the basketball court.
Well, that time Gary was strong position. He gets the charge against Geis. He saw Geis get the reverse layup along the baseline before. This time he had his feet planted, picks up the foul, and that will be the 3rd on Kevin.
Now, if Hersey scores here, we're looking at literally almost a 10-point swing from the rebound. Hess gets, puts it in a 3-point play. Then they take a charge. Now, if they can score another basket, which they don't, but still a 5-point swing, and they're starting to pull away a little bit.
Joe Bello with that steal, desperately needed by Maine South. There's Gerke for a 2-point effort. A little bit long, but Geis with the rebound, swatted away. Geis gets his own rebound, and they'll set it up for Price for 3, and a big play for Maine South as Brian Price drains a 3-pointer, and boy, did they need that one.
Well, he's the same guy that brought him back in the first half, this Price kid, and he's definitely got a solid 3-point shot, no question about it.
But just that quickly, a foul on Maine South, and they now are over the limit. And they'll go to this end of the free throw line and of the court, and it'll be Ryan Kelly. And the foul's on Geis' second, now 8. So it's 1-1. Here's Ryan Kelly. And he gets the first. Ryan, as we mentioned, he really spurted up from 5'9" as a freshman. Good look at the, now where you see a junior center at 6'6". He came with the varsity last year, but he broke his wrist and had to sit out, but had a good game against Elk Grove this year, 21 points, and sinks both free throws there and increased the lead back up to 8 at 44-36, and he checks out, takes the seat for a little breather late here in the third quarter.
I spurted up too in high school, from 4'7" to 5'2".
And that's where it ended for Jason Bell.
Hopefully this is not where it ends for Maine South. They are struggling right now, down 8 points in this contest. They really need a bucket here. 3-point area, could be.
Price is there, but you see a strong rebound, Camaradella. And now with 15 seconds remaining, you can expect David Hess and the Hersey Huskies just to play for the one last shot of the third quarter.
And again, smart basketball, the same thing they did at the end of the half.
There you see Hess, nice dish off to Gary off the glass for 2. As the horn sounds, and Hess to Gary, and they lead now by 10. And they're loving it here in Arlington Heights and Hersey as the Huskies lead it, and the fans are loving it as well.
The super crazy Hersey fans out of control down there. Looks like a special section. They all got their names on the back of their shirts. Superman on the front. It's the Superman.
After 3, it's 46-36 here at TCI. The Huskies are leading it over the Hawks.
There is a world with no such thing as one size fits all, where there's something for everyone on the menu, and the things you want come right to you. Here, life is good because it's easier for you to get and give the information you want from anywhere to everywhere. We've done that for you for quite some time, and we're getting better at it every day. Telephone, internet, TV. TCI. Now, there's a better way.
I'm Ron Wojteka, Mayor of the City of Park Ridge. Since January, our citizens have been celebrating our community's 125th anniversary. And as the year draws to a close, all of us in Park Ridge wish all of you a very happy holiday season and a peaceful and healthy new year. Happy holidays!
Welcome back to Hersey. Now let's go to Josh Bortstein, who has the best seat in the house.
Well, guys, in the beginning of the year, Hersey sophomore coach John Novak decided it might be a good idea to put a little couch out here on the back line of the visitors' basket. It's called the Husky Hot Seat. Definitely the best seat in the house tonight. We're here with tonight's winner of a raffle. Paid $1 to get this seat. It's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I bought it during my lunch hour, and next thing I knew, won the hot seat. And
they gave you hot dogs, they gave you blizzards. I mean, what else can they give you? They need a girlfriend? You can get your girlfriend.
Well, we would like that, but they don't give that here.
They don't give the girlfriends.
No.
I'm just going to have a hot dog, guys. You hang out, you handle the rest of the game, and I'll talk to you later, okay? We'll see you later.
All right, thanks, Josh. And boy, the Husky hot seat, there you see it. I don't know, I always studied through lunch hour. I didn't, but anyway, that's certainly a fun fan attraction here at Hersey High School.
That's a good game for Josh to pick to do the sideline, too. He gets a free hot dog, some free drinks. Got to love that.
Gets to sit around as the fourth quarter's underway, and it rolls out of bounds. And the Maine South Hawks, who trail by 10, will inbound it. They trailed by 8 at the intermission, and now after 3, it's double digits. And we'll see what Barrett can do. He has 4 fouls. They're working around the Schmidt. Here's Price, who's had some good effort from long range. There is a good give and go. Going through the back door was Schmidt off the nice feed from Price.
Good way to open up the fourth quarter for the Maine South Hawks. And I always told you, Perry, that sideline reporting was the hardest thing to do. That's obvious as we look at Josh, that it's difficult.
Yes, he's been mentioning that the stress all evening long. Don't forget, Maine South has come back time and time again this year in the fourth quarter. So they certainly have the capability, but this Hersey squad has been tough here tonight.
Another thing to watch in this period, Perry, will be fatigue. Both teams, 2 games in 2 days, and we'll see what that plays out as we get closer and closer to the end of the game.
And boy, you see these players are scrambling now for the loose ball. That shot taken by Wyszynski. Keith a little short on that jumper, number 40. So you look at it, and on the possession arrow, it goes back to Maine South. This is a big possession here for the Hawks. If they can convert, they could bring them back to within 6.
A lot of rolling around on the court tonight here at Hersey High School.
There's Schmidt thought about it. Now he gives it to Price now eventually with it.
You don't really need a three-pointer here. It would be nice, but you don't need it. You want to get points. That's the bottom line.
Well, Price took it. He's a little short in that jumper, and Gary, who's been strong off the bench, got the rebound, and here comes Hess, and you can see the finger motion saying, let's run a little clock, a little offense here, a little motion.
I like this Gary kid. This Gary kid's got some skills. He's athletic, plays good defense, gets the boards.
Camaradella trying to go baseline. Strongly he does. Off the glass for 2. Gerke was there, and no call, and a big basket. So the lead now back to 10.
Yeah, that was an interesting no call, but that's going to be the weakness that you're going to find on Gerke. He can play offense, and he hustles on defense, but when you're 6'3" and you're going up against guys who are 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", you're going to have problems on plays exactly like that, and you're going to get pushed out of the way no matter what it is you try and do on defense.
And the other on Camaradella was whistled for the foul. The shot from the corner, not there. The battle for the rebound. Smaha and Kelly going at it. It's spin around move, and Maine South had the opportunities, could not convert.
That was big right there. Here comes Hess with a 3.
And Kelly with a strong rebound. He takes it up, knocked out of bounds by Smaha, and it will go over to Maine South.
All right, taking a good look at Brendan Smaha. He's playing pretty tough, hustling, We saw his brother playing JV. Brian Smaha did a nice job for the junior varsity team.
Yeah, the sophomore game held early here tonight, and Schmidt whistled for the offensive foul against Kelly. Maine South won that game by 3. Eric Schmidt, that will be it for him tonight. So one of their starting guards, Eric Schmidt, is fouled out of the game. Their other starting guard, Barrett, has 4. And Dave Scott will take his time and use this time to talk to his troops. They trail by 10, 5:15 remaining, 48-38.
When you have one more point than foul, it's officially not good.
So it looks like John Moran will come off the bench. Kind of shaking his head as Eric Schmidt.
It's a frustrating situation when you want to win this game. They're coming off a tough loss last night. They shouldn't have lost that game. And now all of a sudden you're staring at 2 losses in a row, back-to-back within 24 hours, and you foul out with one more point than foul. Definitely frustration setting in with Eric Schmidt.
Working around now. They have the clock and the scoreboard on their side. Camaradella lowers his shoulder strong to the hoop, and Gerke blocked it away, and Barrett picks up the loose basketball. So a good defensive stop there by Maine South, and boy, do they need it. Moran down the lane, and a foul is called, and that'll be the 3rd of Perry, and we'll see what the situation is as Moran goes to the line, and he will shoot 1 and 1. So both teams now in the bonus situation.
Very early, too, to be in the bonus at this point, and that might really end up hurting the Maine South Hawks, as Hersey will go to the line now for every foul and stop the clock.
So yeah, good look at John Moran. Had a big game last week against Maine West, helping that big 4th quarter rally and then the strong overtime victory. Outstanding athletic programs at both these schools, Hersey and of course Maine South. Been around a long time.
We did a Maine South girls game last year with a gal by the name of Denise Pavicevic, who graduated, now is playing Division I. She was a quality player as well, if I recall, TCI player of the game that game.
And getting the basket and the foul is Camaradella. And you get the feeling that Hersey's starting to smell, though there's a long way to go, but the foul trouble really adding up. And there's the replay, Jason.
And Camaradella is really stepping up, and the coach told me before the game to watch out for him. He was the guy, not David Hess. David Hess, it's a given. He's going to score 15, 20 points a game and run the show. But Camaradella has really taken this Hersey team to a different level. Now you got 2 guys that are a threat to score every single time they touch the basketball.
Here's Price. Barrett with the look for 3, not there.
Now you're going to start seeing Maine South in desperation measures taking threes.
Spin around move by Smaha. He gets the basket and he'll go to the line to try to convert the 3-point play.
That's a big play and a nice move. Smaha's brother did that in the JV game. They almost the exact same situation as we take a look at Smaha. That's a heck of a move, spinning around the defender, off the glass, in, and now with the opportunity for a 3-point play.
Foul on Ryan Kelly. That is his 4th. 3-point play, so a big one it is. Brings them back to within the 7. Here's their defensive pressure on the press, and they cannot get the ball in bounds, and Damon Gary is forced to call the timeout. It's a long way to go. 4:12 remaining. A 7-point lead by the Huskies.
That's Maine South's bread and butter, Perry, the full court pressure, and that if indeed they get back into the game, that's what's going to do it for them.
Well, here's another program reminder for you. Hang out with Larry Gerber, the barbecue man, and his one-of-a-kind interactive kitchen, where he's always cooking up a storm, no matter who decides to drop in. So whether it's an old favorite with Larry's special twist or a dish you never even thought of making, one thing is for sure, everything Larry makes is real good. So stop by Larry's Interactive Kitchen and watch Culinary Adventures, Mondays at 12:30 p.m. and Tuesdays at 2 p.m. It's all right here on TCI Channel 3.
I've seen that show. It's a quality show. The guy on Channel 5 has nothing on Mr. Larry.
Larry Gerber, the barbecue man. There you see the Hersey Husky hustle. You see the back, MTXE, the back lettering. That's mental toughness, extra effort. That former Illinois State Redbird head coach Gene Smithson back in the late 70s popularized in at Wichita State as well.
See, I personally thought it was some sort of math formula because we know that Crowley is the mathematics professor. I thought it was like E equals MC squared, but then Stephen told me it wasn't because he's the math expert over there, the stat man. I'm trying to get the wife to watch that barbecue show. Cook me up some stuff, you know what I'm saying?
I assume you're talking about your better half.
Much better half.
There you see the spin around, and here's Hess. Now, obviously, Hersey with the lead at 7. Want to make sure they get a good look. Show some offensive patience with what they're doing.
Well, and eating clock too, Perry, and that's key right now when you're up 7 points with 3 minutes 40 seconds left in a ball game.
And Price with a near swat away, but now the Huskies will reset.
See, at some point, Maine South is going to have to make a decision on what they're going to do as far as fouling, and there you go. That could be it.
Out of bounds, and it will go over to the Hawks, rather.
This is a huge possession for the Maine South Hawks here. If they can convert even 2 points, but even especially if they get a 3-pointer of some sort, they are right back in this ball game.
Here's Moran.
They've got to be patient and get an open look at the basket. They need points.
Smaha trying to work his way in.
That's a bad shot.
Not there, but he was fouled on the play, and it is on Kelly. That will be his 5th for the junior center.
Ryan Kelly, that is his 5th.
Maine South taking it right at him here late in the ball game. And that will be it for...
Look at the replay here, and Ryan Kelly fouling out of the ball game on this play. It's a nice move. I don't know, that's a very close call, but regardless, that's a way to even up the size disadvantage between your club and another and get the other guys to be escorted out of the game, which indeed Ryan Kelly did. And he was one of the guys we focused on before the game for that ball club, and he really has not done much for this Hersey team tonight.
Well, they have the size, so they will make their substitutions, and they still have some good size along that front line. And
well, you got Ryan Bell still, you got Cam Ardella, who's had an outstanding ball game, and now you have Damon Gary, who moves over to the forward position, and he's very athletic as well, so they don't really lose that much when Ryan Kelly goes to the bench.
Here's a good look at Brendan Smaha. He calmly sinks the first, just to bring his team to win 5.
There's Brendan Smaha, center senior, 6'5", 200 pounds. Of course, we talked about his brother Brian on the JV team, and Smaha has really done a nice job getting the Hawks back into this ball game, and now it's just a 5-point game.
Now they're just going to have Hess bring up the ball himself, and there you see South would try to trap it, and Barrett knocked it out of bounds.
Barrett's got to be careful, though.
Now let's go down to Josh Bornstein.
Well, guys, that last time out, Don Raleigh told his team prepare for Maine South's press. They're desperate right now to put some points on the board. They're going to be a little bit more aggressive with their defense come attack, try and create some turnovers. Raleigh told his team, keep passing the ball. Somebody's going to be open. Just keep your head up and keep pushing the ball down court. Back up to you.
Well, that time the defense came up big. Here's Smaha again. And Gerke to the basket, and there's a blocking foul underneath. And he will go to the line to shoot 2.
Josh Bornstein breaking it down like no one else can. And Cam Ardella making an aggressive play there. You don't want to give up an easy layup. It's a good foul by Cam Ardella. The good thing is, at least for Hersey, is that it didn't go in because it could have been a 3-point play. Now he's got to at least hit 2 free throws to cut the lead to 3.
One thing, Hersey is in pretty good foul situation. Only one of the players out there now has 3. Or check that now, with 4 is Justin Kerr, but he's not been that much of a factor. Gerke has 4 for Maine South, and also Barrett has 4, so they already had a player foul out in Schmidt, so that now makes it a 3-point ball game with 2:42 remaining.
And Gerke has really stepped it up here in the 3rd and 4th quarter. Him combined with Price's 3-point shooting and Smaha's baseline driving and getting foul calls, they've come back into this game. We got a game here, Perry Williams. 2:20 left, 3-point game. Hersey Huskies on top, and now a huge call by the officials.
Well, they said it was out of bounds off the Hawks.
And that Cam Ardella, he's yapping again. Guy's an emotional player. He likes to get in the head of his opponent. A little bit of that football seeping back into the basketball court again.
And he lowers his shoulder, and it's blocked away by Gerke. And there you see Camaradella doing a couple push-ups.
Let's watch the replay here. Let's see if this indeed was a foul.
So they called it on Smaha, who was up front. It was Gerke who blocked it from behind.
Right, well, Gerke's block was clearly clean. It's a question of whether or not it was a foul on Smaha, and you know, what the officials say goes, my friend.
And they misses the first, and we are in the super bonus situation. Good look at John Camaradella. Drained a couple big three-pointers early in the contest.
He's really impressed me today. The 6'6" senior also plays on the football team. If I'm not mistaken, Camaradella was part of that three-man running back tandem that featured Brendan Riley on the Hersey Huskies football team.
And his free throw does make it a two-possession game that Maine South will need. Smaha tries to muscle his way in, goes back out. Here's Price for three.
Oh, that's
he
a huge shot for the Maine South Hawks. Price is coming up with some big shots here, especially from the three-point stripe.
And there you see the pressure defense. Camaradella down the lane. That would have been from long range.
Okay, Dave, take it easy there, buddy. Didn't fool anyone that time.
It's a minute 40 remaining. It's 51-50. Maine South, as we said, they've come back time and time again in the fourth quarter this year, and they've done it again tonight, and they get the turnover. The Hawks take the lead on this possession with a minute 30 remaining.
Coach Rowley, not a happy man, and exactly what I was about to say. I was going to say, Coach, call a timeout. Now is the time to get a TO, baby, as Dick Vitale says. Your team is reeling. Maine South making a huge comeback. It's a one-point game. A great timeout by Coach Don Rowley of the Hersey Huskies.
Well, there you see the Hawks. It was just about the 5-minute mark where they trailed by 10. They've cut the deficit to 1. 51-50, 1:30 remaining. Here's another program reminder for you for an informative and up-to-date look at what's happening in your area. Join Pioneer Press Managing Editor Robert Lorzell as he discusses important issues with community leaders. Want to know what's going on down your street and around town? Then don't miss Village Voice, presented by TCI, Sundays at 12:30 p.m., Mondays at 1 p.m., and Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m. right here in TCI Channel 3. And that's the type of show that Jason Bell gets excited about. Actually, it's a great show. The TCI staff and the programming department just do an outstanding job, and we're proud to be part of it with our high school coverage. We had football throughout the year, of course. And there you see some of the Husky cheerleaders.
Certainly the guy that runs it all, does a phenomenal job. That, of course, Bob Rep.
The of course kind of threw me there, but 51-50, minute 30 remaining. Now we'll see what Maine South does on the offensive possession.
John told me to be careful. It's not easy to confuse with Perry Williams.
John Cohen, as you mentioned at the outset, taking a week off. Has some other responsibilities. Great to have you, Jason. It's an outstanding job as always.
Thank you.
Great to have Josh Bornstein with us, working the sidelines and his insight, perspective, and nice to see he got off that couch too.
Yeah, well, he had a couple of hot dogs, a couple of drinks, and then he got his way and made his way back over to the sideline.
There's Smaha down the lane, not there, and Camaradella with the rebound. So a little bit short on that jumper.
We might lose Josh to the Hersey coaching staff. He's sitting over there right next to the assistant coach.
Now we're inside a minute. The Hersey working clock. Here's Hess, guarded by Barrett. A little reach-in foul, and it was on Brett Olson. For Olson, that'll be his first, and it will send Zabo to the line to shoot the super bonus, so you have two opportunities.
That's not such a horrible foul, Perry. I mean, it stops the clock, which is a good thing. Now this guy's got to make both free throws. If he makes one and misses the other, it's only a two-point game.
Really calmly, just nice to form. He has it go through, so it's a two-point lead, and
There's a big free throw right here.
And he just very calmly drops it through, both of them.
Ice in his veins, that kid.
So Maine South needs 3 to tie with 40 seconds remaining.
You don't need necessarily a three-pointer here. You really don't, because if you get 2 points and you get the ball back, you can win with a two-point basket.
Here's
you
one
might go for 3, but They don't need
Here's
it.
Price who can do it. Price drains it, and we're tied at 53 with 25 seconds remaining.
This Price kid is outstanding. He only averages 6.5 points a game. And look at here, he's got a huge game tonight. And a huge three right there to tie this ball game. We got a game here, Perry Williams.
Camaradella, here's Hess. Inside 10 seconds. Guarded by Barrett. Takes it baseline in heavy traffic. The shot at the buzzer. We have overtime. Overtime in Arlington Heights as Maine South has a furious rally to tie it at 53.
A truck, a spool of cable, and a few people wanting more out of TV. That's all it took to start a cable company. A lot's changed since then at TCI. We grew and maybe lost sight of what's most important. You, our customers. So we're going to try to see things from your point of view. Do things a little differently and a lot better. TCI, we got the picture.
Welcome back to overtime at Hersey High School, Maine South and the Hersey Huskies. Hersey saw a 10-point fourth quarter lead disappear as a big three-pointer by Price tied it, and a last-second shot did not go for David Hess. And there you see the situation. Smaha will jump center against Camaradella for the overtime session.
This is exciting. I'm standing up here. I can't even sit down. I'm so excited.
Once again,
53 all.
the two players in foul trouble here, both on Maine South, both with 4, is Barrett, number 21, and 32, Gerke, and here is Hersey with control of the basketball off the tip.
If I'm Hersey, I go right inside and try and get Barrett or Gerke out of the game, and that's the two best players, and that's a huge shot.
And Hess drains it for 3, and here's Olsen on the break. He stops off the glass a little short of that. He had the opportunity. There you see the scramble for the rebound and kind of tossed away, and Price will pick it back up for the Maine South Hawks.
That was a great defensive play by Ryan Bell of Hersey, getting back and stepping in front of him on the break.
Here's Price from the corner, not there that side. Camaradella with the rebound. So here come the Huskies again. They have the lead, and this is the player that sparked them here tonight with 22 points. Hess, a little jumper not there. Sabo the rebound though, and it's Hess that will restart it for the Huskies. So a nice rebound by Zabo.
And again, we're going to emphasize, Perry, 2 games in 2 days by both of these ball clubs. Fatigue will definitely become a factor. Not only are we past the fourth quarter, but we are now into the middle of overtime.
Here's Barrett, and back to Olsen. One thing, we've mentioned that Gerke to the basket for 2. Strong move.
That's a great move. He's done that a couple times tonight. That's why he's their guy. He's the leader of this ball club. Plays a lot bigger than his 6'3" size, just like David Hess.
.222 remaining here in overtime. It's a 1-point game. Hersey leading it. And they have the basketball. Overtime here on TCI. Perry Williams, Jason Bell, and Josh Bornstein. The spin around by Camaradella, not there. Price with the rebound. They call a foul on Justin Kerr, and that will be his 5th.
Saw a little elbow there at the end of that play. I don't know if you got to look at that.
Check that. That is his 4th, but more importantly, going down to the other end of the
Watch this replay.
court.
Watch this. There's a little bit of elbow here at the end of this play. They're going to, well, you don't see it, but they're going to call a foul on Hersey right after the play. You got the little elbow there by Maine South. These two teams have been fighting all night. We've seen bodies on the floor, elbows flying, pushing, shoving, lots of fouls. 2 physical teams, both of whom want this victory and want it bad, and it's all tied up with 1:56 left in this game. Doesn't get any better than this, Perry Williams.
We're tied 56. This for a Maine South lead. there you have it. And there's a timeout on the floor taken by Maine South. 1:56 remaining in overtime. The Hawks now leading it by 1, 57-56. And there you see Brian Price, and he certainly, Maine South comes with a victory, comes away. He would be, I think, a candidate for our TCI Player of the Game. On the other end, of course, would be number 22, Hess, who has 22 for Hersey.
And there's no question about it. Brian Price, the senior, 6'3", 175 pounds. And he has 19 points, Perry, but those have been 19 crucial points. Second quarter, the Maine South was falling behind, and Brian Price was there to bail them out. Fourth quarter, 10-point lead. Maine South looking like they're going to lose for the second time in 2 days. Brian Price there to bail them out with three-pointer after three-pointer, and clearly he would be the choice if the Hawks go on to victory for TCI Player of the Game.
But we have a ways to go, and Hess obviously the candidate on the other end. So there you see the huddles break up.
A lot of time, Perry, overtimes come down to coaching. We have two excellent coaches here at Hersey High School. Dave Scott, who we saw last year when they played Maine West. Maine West, of course, a team that went downstate. And if you recall that game, Maine South hung tough for a lot of that game. They looked better against Maine West than a lot of teams did. And then, of course, Don Rowley on the other side.
Let's go down to Josh Bornstein.
Well, guys, Maine South coach Dave Scott has challenged his team in the huddle. He's told them, do you want to win this game? Now's the time to win it. The last 2 minutes of this ball game. We don't want to come away from these 2 days with 2 losses. So they're inspired here. They don't want to lose this game. I think that they're a little bit more ready to win this one than Hersey at this point. They need it. Back to you.
Well, thank you, Josh. But there you see they had the good defensive stop, and then they threw the ball away.
Josh is right on about that. I mean, they lost to Highland Park, the game that they played, and they shouldn't have lost that game. So they're here at a game that maybe they shouldn't win, but they're playing like they want to. They got a reach-in foul there, because that was 2 points.
Again, Zabo, as they had the three-point effort, they only trail by one. A long way to go on this one, but the Zabo with the reach-in, and there you see, we'll come down to who can make their free throws now here as well, as Barrett will go to the line, and Barrett has
get a good look at Coach Rowley over the Hersey Husky bench.
Well, he's seen a lot of basketball here over the years.
Indeed, and he is concerned. And as Josh mentioned a couple times, and as I mentioned in the open, he was concerned before this game that his team would let down. And they hadn't let down in the first quarter, second quarter, but it looks like Maine South is really coming strong here. It's a big test for the Hersey Huskies.
Well, the lead is now 3 with 1:16 as Barrett calmly drains both of those, and Hersey will take a timeout. Well, one thing we mentioned, too, about Maine South was you talk about playing 2 games in 2 nights and their senior leadership, but they do have some good depth on that ball club. A lot of players around the 6'2", 6'3" range. You put in a Kevin Geis, for instance. Olson and Moran have come off the bench to be effective here tonight, but obviously a ways to go as the Huskies and Hawks been battling all night here, and it's been a very physical game, Jason.
Well, and Todd Gierke, who's their top player, he hasn't had such a great game. Other people have stepped it up. Dave Scott in his 9th season as head coach of the Maine South Hawks. He's doing a phenomenal job, and I remember last year when he gave Maine West all they could handle in that contest, and right here at Hersey High School, he's given the Huskies and Coach Rowley all they can handle as well. And Josh brings up a very good point, Perry. It's going to come down right now to desire. Who wants this game more? These teams obviously very evenly matched. We got a 1-point or 3-point game here with a minute left just about. This is going to come down to desire and will and conditioning. 2 games in 2 nights for both of these teams, both Hersey and Maine South.
And of course, a lot of that conditioning is manifested at the free throw line. And you see the situation, 59-56, 1:16. Maine South just a week ago in their game at Maine West went to overtime, and they handily beat the Warriors in overtime, 70-63. So this is familiar territory for them. Of course, just a week ago as well, overtime for Hersey in their victory over Elk Grove. So both teams have been in the extra session so far this year, and both coming away with wins.
And just before that inbounds, Dave Scott was working the officials. Let's see what indeed he was trying to get at.
Inside a minute now, Hess taking the 3-point effort there, but the offensive board, and they go inside, strong into the basket for 2. Inside was Ryan Bell, and the Huskies will take a timeout. And back to within 1. There'll be a full timeout.
That's a big shot for Mr. Bell. I think he made it because he's got the good last name. Check out this replay. Ryan Bell, number 42 from Hersey, up and in, and then a very good move by the Hersey team calling a timeout before Maine South can inbound the basketball.
Well, don't forget, outstanding basketball for you here on TCI once again this year. And our coverage continues here. 1 week from today, we'll begin a string of girls games beginning in Wheeling as the Wildcats host the visiting Saxons from Schaumburg. Join us next week for that great matchup and all season long as we bring you the best in high school basketball only on TCI Channel 3. So watch your neighborhood play on TCI.
That'll be a good game, no question about it, Perry Williams.
And there you see the horn, the buzzer sounds. And there you see the Maine South cheer squad.
You got to give credit to both Barrett and Gerke from Maine South. They've been playing this entire overtime period, as you pointed out at the beginning of the session, with 4 fouls. So that's going to be crucial. We got 49 seconds left. If either of those guys gets a 5th foul and has to leave the game, that could be crucial. Ryan Bell just with a huge play for Hersey. We take a good look at him, the 6'4", 210 pounds, as Maine South tries to inbound the ball.
Well, they do. Here's Price with the basketball, and they're trying to get over the court line, which they do. A great pass and a fake, and they call a intentional foul, looks like.
Yes, indeed, they call an intentional foul. And you know what that means? That means 2 shots and possession. That's a huge call by the officials, and I'm not so sure I agree with it. Let's take a look here at this call. On the break, looks like he was just going to foul him and prevent him from getting the easy basket on the breakaway. A huge call by the officials. Dave Scott, I told you, working those officials right before the last play. Maybe he got himself a little call there.
Well, Gerke misses the first one, and you have to hand it for Gerke, which is a great pump fake. But I think the players just going in trying to make the block, block the shot. But nevertheless, that's the situation. Here's a big free throw.
Well,
and he drains the second.
To the officials' credit, I mean, it was a physical foul. He brought him down to the ground, and so they're going to call that probably most of the time. But there wasn't any malicious intent, and I think that's what you got to look at when you're talking about intentional foul. If it's malicious in the intent, and now we have a timeout on the floor, 60-58. Maine South looking to upset Hersey here at Hersey High School.
20-second timeout. There you see the bench for the Huskies. They trail by 2, but plenty of time, 36 seconds remaining, and as you mentioned, it may come down to the free throws.
Josh Bornstein has no fear. He's in the Hersey huddle right now, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we get a good look at him. He's in the huddle. Might as well just go call some plays. Josh, let's take a look at this play one more time. As we see, they called an intentional foul as Gerke with a pump fake, and I think he got up high because of the pump fake. So it's hard to give him a fault for that, but nonetheless, an intentional foul. Maine South with 2 shots and the ball.
Well, Smaha had a wide open look at the basket, but he spun around instead, and there you see, well, you don't see it, but Coach Scott was telling him, hey, you got that easy shot, put it up and in, but nevertheless, they spin it around, and Barrett will go to the line to shoot 2. And Barrett will
at the free throw line, and Barrett has had a nice game. He hasn't totally contained David Hess, because Hess has 22 points for the Hersey Huskies. However, he's done a decent job. And if you notice, Hess has not had a lot of points towards the end of the 4th quarter and here in overtime. He had that 3 to open it up, but that's just about it. And Barrett's done a very nice job in containment of David Hess of Hersey.
And there you see Hess now is trying to make something happen. Camaradella back to Hess. He has a little pump fake. Back to Camaradella from the corner for 3. He drains it from the corner. 15 seconds ago, a timeout on the floor, back to within 1.
And Camaradella with a huge shot, absolutely huge. And that's what they said before the game. Watch out for Camaradella from the 3-point stripe. And unofficially, Mr. Steven, that guy's got 3 3-pointers in this game. As we take a look at the play again, Camaradella from long range, and just like we said about David Hess, you can't leave a guy open if he's a 3-point shooter, because he'll hit it every single time. It's 62-61 here in overtime at Hersey High School, as Hersey trying to come back and avoid the upset here on their home turf, Perry.
Well, they had the big lead in the 4th quarter. Maine South with all those seniors and that balance and some fresh legs off the bench put on a fierce rally, and they tied it, forced it to the overtime. We have 15 seconds remaining in the overtime. Don't forget, we'll have our TCI Player of the Game ceremony for you at the completion of this one. And there you see some of the Hersey Husky fans loving it here. A lot of fun attending a game. They have lots of excitement, not only the Husky hot seat, but at halftime, people line up to take shots from the top of the key with a chance to win a t-shirt should they make it.
They didn't ask me to take a shot. I'd have taken 10 t-shirts home.
Let's stitch them together and make one.
That'll fit you.
And there we go. Here come the Hawks. Barrel inbound it, and a lot of pressure here by the Huskies.
Well, this is it, 15 seconds. It's what it all comes down to. Maine South got at the foul. You knew that was coming. David Hess, the captain of this team, the leader of this team, making a very good play down in crunch time.
The third on Hess, but it's Barrett who will go down on the other end to shoot the 2 free throws, and 3 seconds ticked off the clock. Barrett now with 5. And he misses the first. "12 seconds remaining. Makes the second, so it's a 2-point advantage. The soft pressure here's from Cambradella. They only need a 2-pointer to tie. And a foul on Gerke.
Oh, that's not a smart play.
And that will be his 5th.
That is his 5th personal foul.
Cambradella will go to the line with 2 shots. And that will mean Olsen will come off the bench.
Replacing Gerke is number 55, Brett Olsen.
So with 6 seconds remaining, going to the line with an opportunity to tie.
John Cambradella will step to the line.
Cambradella, he had some big free throws in the win. There is Raleigh trying to do all the signals he can.
Coach Rowley got lucky there on a foul on Gerke. I mean, that was clearly a foul. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's not a smart play to foul when you're up like that late in this contest, because here you go. Now he can tie the game. These are huge free throws for Mr. Cambradella.
No problem. He drained 4 big ones in the final minute against Wheeling. And now Maine South's going to call a timeout to make him think about this last one and also set up what they can do with 6 seconds remaining.
Maine South.
So 6 seconds remaining at 63-62 in overtime here on TCI at Hersey High School. Well, we take a break here. We want to remind you about some of the outstanding programming here on TCI. And let Village President Greg Klitecki show you Wheeling like you've never seen it before. He hosts his own program, introducing you to the people of his community. And each episode features restaurants, schools, residents, and neighborhood events, sure to make you stand up and take notice. Windows on Wheeling airs Sundays at 1:30 p.m., Mondays at 2 and 7:30 p.m., and Thursdays at 2 p.m. right here on TCI Channel 3. Cambradella with an opportunity to tie. Hess, of course, has been running the offense, and he had some great assists as well here tonight.
David Hess has done a nice job, but Cambradella, the surprise player here for the Hersey Huskies. Coach Rowley again told us before the game to look out for this kid, and he's been hitting threes, getting rebounds. Here he has a chance to tie the ball game, possibly send it into a second overtime, and he does.
And there you have it. Here's Barrett with 4 seconds remaining behind the back. Barrett with the shot at the buzzer. Double overtime here in Hersey.
What a game here in Arlington Heights. Hersey Huskies looking like they were ready to go on cruise control here, and they just couldn't get the job done, couldn't close it. Now we have double overtime here, another 4 minutes of play. This game all tied up as we take a look at the final shot. Throws it up, and no good. It's an air ball. We're going into double OT, all tied up at 63.
When I grow up, I want to be a track star.
No one ever says, I want to be a junkie when I grow up. Don't let drugs get in the way of your dreams.
Welcome back. Double overtime underway here at Hersey, and for the third time tonight, the tap is controlled by the Huskies, and here is David Hess. We're double overtime, tied at 63. Maine South and the Hersey Huskies.
Well, Perry, Maine South has come back really strong here in the fourth quarter and in the first overtime, but they're going to have to win this ball game. If they do, without Todd Gerke, their stud superstar player, the guy who leads this team, and in fact, it was his mistake that cost them this double overtime.
Camaradella gets his own rebound, and he now has 22 in the game, and the Huskies back on top by 2.
And Camaradella has really picked up the baton from David Hess in the end of the fourth quarter, first overtime, second overtime. He has really gotten the job done. He wants to win this ball game, and Hersey probably feeling a little fatigue right now, and it's good they have Camaradella to step it up, and another block for Mr. Camaradella. He's having a good game.
So Camaradella now emerging as a favorite for a TCI player of the game. And we'll go back the other. The foul is on Smaha. That will be his third, but more importantly for Hersey, they have an opportunity to pad their lead here in double overtime.
And of course, in high school basketball, Perry, the fouls stay as they are in each overtime session. It doesn't start over like some other levels of basketball. So now every single foul that we see here is going to result in free throws.
Well, he calmly drains his 23rd point of the game.
And he had the little Andrew Dice Clay flip of the neck there after the free throw.
Now his point, and he points to the fans. The lead is 4, and if you're Maine South, you're going to have to look at someone who can score. Here's Price, who has led them here tonight with 19. Barrett from three-point range, not there. And they scramble on the loose ball, and it will go over to Maine South. So a break for the Hawks on the possession arrow.
And already here in the second overtime, Perry, we see that Maine South clearly misses their leader. As we take a look at this replay here, again, as has been the case throughout this game, we've got shoving, pushing, bodies flying around. A couple of physical teams here at Hersey High School tonight.
Well, Geis gives it to Price, and they wave it off. And there was a foul, and it will be on Camaradella, his third, but it will send the Price to the line to shoot the 2 shots. Once again, we're in the super bonus situation, so it's an automatic 2 shots.
And super bonus for a super game here, Perry Williams, because we're in double overtime in Arlington Heights at Hersey High School. 67-64. Hersey has come roaring back here in the second extra session to take the lead, and now Maine South trying to trim that lead. It's 67-65 now as Price drains 2 free throws. He's up to 21 for the game, and he really has carried them, stepped it up in the absence of Todd Gerke.
And now Maine South will have to play some strong defense. 2:25 remaining here in the second overtime at Hersey. Here's David Hess. He has 23 points in the game. He's been outstanding, and some key assists. And the battle out of bounds and knocked out of bounds by Barrett.
You know, Perry, we talked to a lot of coaches before and after games, and they always talk about how their kids get pumped up to play on television, and clearly that is the case here tonight at Hersey High School. These two teams really laying it all on the line on television, and it's not even a conference game, but both of these teams really playing hard and tough. Doesn't get any better than this for high school hoops.
No, especially when they heard that Josh Bornstein will be joining the announcing crew for this game. That's enough to inspire anybody.
Well, the fact that I was your color guy, that excited you from the start.
Not. Here's Barrett, or rather Hess. Guard there by Price, and they're spreading it out. And they called Geis for the foul. And that will send Camaradella once again to the free throw line.
Let me tell you, this Cameradella kid plays with some fire in his belly. I mean, right there, you got a foul, you know, on purpose. They want to stop the clock, Maine South does. And Cameradella was ready to turn around and go after that kid from the Maine South team. This guy's got fire in his belly, and he's really stepping it up here at the free throw line, looking for point number 25, and he gets it. 25 points for Cameradella, a football player, a basketball player, and he is getting the job done, making a claim for TCI Player of the Game.
Moran checks in the lineup for Maine South.
You didn't think I had rap skills, did you?
Still don't. And here's Cameradella with an opportunity to make it a two-possession game once again. He calmly just drains it. Now has 26 in the ball game. And
well, David Hess hasn't scored really at all in the overtime sessions, both of them as a matter of fact, but he's making it go, and he realizes that he's got a teammate in Cameradella who's really, really hot, and he's getting him the ball.
Good effort by Barrett down the lane with a little jumper. And here's the Maine South press. Cameradella will take it over the timeline. Counted there by Smaha. We have a minute 15 remaining in the second overtime. Hersey with the ball and the lead of 2.
Well, let's not rule out this Hawk team. And they've come back not only in this game, but in games prior to this season. This is only a 2-point game. A turnover here, and Maine South is right back in this contest.
And then dangerous territory there at midcourt. And they'll call Price for the foul. Not a bad foul, actually.
No, not really, no.
Zabo to the line to shoot the 2.
Well, you stopped the clock, and he definitely got by him. So that's clearly why he drew the foul. I mean, you don't necessarily need to stop the clock, but you definitely, in a double overtime session, down by 2 points, you don't want to give up any easy points.
Now, Maine South would call a timeout as Zabo will go to the line to shoot the 2 free throws. The foul, by the way, was on Price, only his second in the entire game. He has 21 points, which has really been the story for Maine South.
Well, this is a good timeout by Coach Dave Scott. I mean, he wants to ice the free throw shooter for one, and he wants to get his team in some sort of a situation where if indeed he makes both free throws, or if he misses one of the free throws, makes the first, misses the second, Maine South will have something coming out on the fast break, and they'll be able to do something and possibly get some points, even a three-pointer to tie the game if indeed Hersey only hits the 1 of 2.
Now let's go down to Josh Bornstein. Josh.
Well, guys, you notice how Hersey's been hitting most of their free throws here in both overtime periods. In practice, Don Raleigh runs a drill at the end of practice where he lines up 8 of his players out at the foul line. Each guy has to hit 2 free throws. They got to make both of them. No more than 2. He says, we don't like them to take 5 or 10. We want to simulate a game. Well, obviously, it's paying off here, especially with Cameradella. He's hit a few big ones here tonight. Back up to you.
Thanks, Josh. There's a good look at Joe Zabo, junior
and
guard.
when they shoot the free throws, he makes them do some math, too, before they can move along in the line, I think.
If you calculus, project do the
square
and he
root.
misses the first, so we're still now a 2-point advantage, and here's Zabo.
And that's what I was talking about. Dave Scott, something up his sleeve here. Even if Zabo makes this shot, he's going to have something set up for his guys to do. Here we go. They take the ball out. Barrett's going to bring it up, and Dave Scott definitely has something in mind here.
Here's Moran. They're looking for Price, who's hit several three-pointers here tonight.
There he is.
Here's Barrett. Here's Price. Moran now.
He's not the guy for to have the ball right now. No. There's Barrett wide open, and there's the three-point stripe.
Strong to the hoop was Smaha, and he'll go to the line to shoot the free throws. With 34 seconds remaining in our second overtime, Dave Scott will take a knee, and there
Let's
you
take a
see
look at
the
this,
strong
Perry.
move. And that is the 4th foul on Cameradella.
Well, you accomplish 2 things there. You get to the free throw line, and obviously, hopefully for Maine South, he can hit these free throws. He hits the first one, but you also stop the clock, number 2, and you get another foul on Cameradella, who clearly has been the man for Hersey. So you're looking at 1 more foul. He's out of the game if this game were to possibly go to triple overtime.
And it's a 1-point game now, and they do get it in quickly to Hess. And he's one guy they don't want to foul because he's almost automatic from the line. Cameradella as well.
I don't know if you want to foul at all here. You're only down 1. You want to play tough defense. Chooses to foul. I guess you don't want the clock going under 20 seconds, but you could have tried to play and try and get the ball back and just win the game outright. But now You got a free throw situation for the Hersey Huskies. You got a guy on the free throw line who's decent from the stripe, but we'll see if the pressure gets to him in a 1-point game in double overtime with 20 seconds left. And indeed, Dave Scott, boy, this guy's a good coach, calls another timeout to try and ice the free throw shooter, and let's see if it works.
And Ryan Bell will go to the line. He averages 77% from the line for the year. And it is a full timeout for Maine South. So with 20 seconds remaining in our second overtime, there you see the scoreboard. The Huskies of Hersey, the home team here, leading the Maine South Hawks 70-69. A non-conference matchup, but what a dandy it has been here on TCI.
Unbelievable. You know, it's not a lot of big crowd here, although bigger than one might expect for a game of this. You don't want to say magnitude because it's not a conference showdown, but these two teams are really taking it to each other. Maine South, 2 games in 2 days. They upset last night by Highland Park High School. Shouldn't have lost that game. Hersey coming off a very emotional win over a Wheeling school in a conference showdown last night, and so they're emotionally drained. But Coach Rowley's got them playing tough. They're up 1 here, but Maine South still has an opportunity to tie and or win this game. And don't count Dave Scott and his boys out, because you know well, Perry, they've come back not only this year, but as we've seen so far tonight, they've come back in this ball game. They were down 10 at one point in the 4th quarter. They were down in the 1st overtime, and they're down here in the 2nd overtime. And they might want to come back and tie this game again. We get a good look at number 42, Ryan Bell. He's a forward for Hersey, and he'll be at the free throw line. They just iced him. Let's see what happens here. He misses it. Oh, good move by Coach Dave Scott. I told you the guy knows what he's doing.
There, Ryan Bell, he's one of the co-captains, along with Camaradella and Hess.
This is a big free throw right here. Huge free throw. And he missed it. Oh, but Hersey gets the rebound.
And putting up the shot, though, was Justin Kerr. And he will go to the line, but what a big rebound as they didn't block him out. And 2 seconds go off the clock, and that is the 5th personal on Smaha. So he is now out of the game.
Well, he leaves with 7 points, but they were 7 crucial points. Smaha made a couple of moves. If we take a look at the replay here, a nice rebound by the Hersey Huskies to get the ball back, and he forces it up, gets fouled, and now he'll go to the line. It's number 33. You're looking at Justin Kerr on the free throw line for the Hersey Huskies. And again, just like it was when Ryan Bell was on the line, these are crucial free throws. He hits the first one, and that's a big shot now, up by 2 points. This is the difference right here, Perry. If he makes this free throw, then Maine South needs a 3 to tie. If he misses this free throw, they only need 2 points to tie this ball game. Now, this is a huge free throw right here.
Justin Curry did the smart thing. That first free throw, he got the ball and put it up, and this is the type of situation now. There's a pause in the court for whatever reason, the official conferring with head coach Raleigh. But we'll see his second effort, and nothing doing. Straight through, the lead is 3.
That's a big free throw. Now they have to get a 3-pointer. Look for the ball in the hands of Barrett, which it is right now. Now you got an open look for 3. No good.
Knocked away, and Zabo has it. And Joe Zabo will go to the line in double overtime. His team leads it by 3 and only 7 seconds remaining.
John Moran, Perry, was not the guy to get the ball to in that situation. You got a Brian Price who has 5 threes already. We take a look at the replay. John Moran hasn't really taken many threes or even many shots for that matter in this ball game. Here's a guy, he's coming off the bench. He's probably in there for Todd Gerke, who fouled out. He's probably in there for an Eric Schmidt, who fouled out. Not necessarily the guy you want to take that shot. You really should have looked for a Barrett or a Price at that point. But you got to take what the defense gives you, and that's what they talked about at the beginning of the game.
But I tell you, they got to make the free throw here, as Zabo will give it a good look.
Zabo has not been hitting his free throws at all.
But he hit that one, and that is the one that should ice it. Here's Price for long range for 3, not there. 2 seconds, and the game comes to an end. And they're swarming the court here in Arlington Heights and Hersey as the Huskies pull away and win it in double overtime by the score of 73-69 over a very game team from Maine South. So quite a game here tonight on TCI. Double overtime, and Hersey's able to pull away at the end, and they win it, 73-69. The celebration on the court. And there you see the big putback that led them in the way in double overtime by Camaradella. Your final, 73-69 on TCI of Illinois. Game of the week, our player of the game coming up.
We are all different.
We have one thing in common. The first time we were offered marijuana, we said what was on our minds.
Welcome back to Hersey. There is the final score, double overtime. Hersey wins it by 4 over Maine South. Now let's go courtside. Josh Bornstein with our TCI player of the game.
All right, guys, we're here with our TCI player of the game. It's Hersey senior John Camaradella. John, I don't blame you if you're tired, man. 2 nights, 2 games, 2 overtimes. First of all, how's the leg feel?
The leg feels great. I've been playing without the brace for about 3 or 4 weeks now, and it's completely healed. I got the okay to play without the brace from the doctor about a month ago. So just going hard and having fun.
Looked like you guys had this one in control early on the first half. Maine South made it close, and then obviously some amazing shots in the 2 overtimes.
Yes, it was. They brought us down to the wire. We didn't execute near the end, and we had an 8-point lead, I think, with about 2 minutes left, and all of a sudden it vanished, and we had to dig deep in order to come back and win, but it feels good.
John, congratulations, and on your behalf, TCI is going to donate $100 to Hersey High School. So congratulations again. Good luck. Get some rest, all right? All right, back upstairs to you guys.
Okay, thank Josh. Great job. Great to have you along. Congratulations to John, the entire Hersey squad, and Maine South. Boy, do they have a game team, and they really put up quite a fight here tonight, double overtime.
They certainly did. They came back, Price with 3-pointers, and their guy, Todd Gerke, really didn't get the job done, but other guys stepped up for the Maine South Hawks. Unfortunately, in sports and in basketball, you can't have 2 winners. But here on TCI tonight, we really did. We had 2 winners.
Oh, there you see the victory by Hersey. And so for Josh Bornstein, Jason Bell, and our entire TCI production team, including Stephen Baldwin, it's Perry Williams saying thanks for watching and so long, everybody.